we have a problem. We have a problem that we do not have a problem. We do not have a problem after a while playing X4 anymore, because we are at a stage where literally nobody can actually tell us what to do anymore, and nobody is causing a threat anymore to us. I'm going to discuss today what could potentially stop that from happening, and I did that on stream. So you're going to watch a cut of the stream from last Friday. And if you want to discuss that, either join me on twitch.tv/CaptainCollins or write me down in the comments what you think about this idea. But now let's jump into what I call an existential crisis. You know what I would prefer? Maybe one thing that's missing in X4. Can you tell me if you could only add one more thing to X4, what would it be? Remove the Borns. Well, just simply don't buy the DLC. Easy fix. Okay, hear me out. If I could add one single thing to X4 to complete the game and to never touch it after that, is a dynamic endgame crisis. Why dynamic? Because every single playthrough will feel different at the end. I think that's one of the reasons why Stellaris, for example, is being played over and over and over again, is that it's just a different game every single time you play it, because of how it turns out at the end and where you get attacked and what happens and whatsoever. What type of crisis? I don't know. The Kark and Xenon are becoming allies.
Danger.
And the Kark invent a method to control the Xenon and are conquering the galaxy. Something like that. It's like, I don't know, you could tie this to the seat you're playing, for example. You want the same endgame crisis? Start the same seat again. Maybe once it will trigger when you reach 1 billion credits. Maybe once it will trigger when you reach like 10 stations. Maybe once it will trigger to, I don't know, like something. And how do you make it truly endgame? If it is really big, then many players who do not want this challenge will hate it and be super upset. Maybe. True. Like, I am super upset with endgame crisis in Stellaris. The core community loves them and are looking forward to them, and I just don't like it, and I want to avoid it by any means.
Danger.
There are people who are craving for these endgame crises in Stellaris. This is just the best example I can give, because I actually didn't like it, and know other people that are looking forward to it every single time they play. It is established that the game has an end, right? In X4, this is not necessarily the case. That's why endgame crisis is maybe not the right wording for it, but the idea behind it is still valid. Then just don't call it endgame crisis, but call it existential crisis. It's not like the end. It's an attack on your sole existence. And if you can't beat it, it will be the end for you. Or you could opt out of it. Other people that would like to go that route, they should save right now, do a dedicated save file for the start of that thing. So if you want to change how it actually works out, then you can go back to the start of it if you want to. I know that it's difficult for a smaller team to work on something like that. That's just optional, and maybe it doesn't change too much for that many players, and maybe feels at the end like you're wasting your time on a system that's not being used that much. You could actually use that time for something more meaningful. But here I'm talking about one of the last steps of the game. Like I see something like what I just talked about as brainstorming. But brainstorming different ways to engage with an existing player base. Oh my god, could you stop there? And bring new challenges. And I'm like, X4 is a lot about combat, so that's naturally one of the first challenges I think about. But you can also add an economical threat. I mean, this doesn't have to be an exclusively combat threat. This can also be an economical threat. after 4 years of having sandbox game, I don't think that you can please all of them. Like I even
Danger.
read
Hazardous
messages
region detected.
on the video, on the last video, that said, "I am not going to buy the DLC if it is about Borns." What? What? Why?